The only thing we have to
Beer.
is
Beer.
itself.
Beer. So many choices.
Only no function beer well without.
Woohoo! Beer! Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Busters, where we're going to bring you, you know by now, the news and reviews of some wonderful brews. My name is Dan Baker, joined, as per the usual, by my co-host and brewologist.
It's changing it up, Steph Hefner.
I thought you were going to make that your name, like, oh, I'm the brewologist changing it up. Anyway, and our demented and fermented
Baker, Wayne.
Yes, we're going. What is it? APA style?
Sure.
Well, why not? We'll go IPA style.
We'll be doing that later.
Oh yeah. Well, we're sort of home. We're in the homeland, but we're not home. Actually, I'm very happy to be here because we have ties to this location, and it's got some history behind it as well, and it's within walking distance of where I once lived and our parents currently do live.
All the rents are in the house.
Yes,
They are, yes. It's a family affair
It
this
is a
evening.
family affair.
Exactly, and in several ways. But without further ado, we are at Oakbrook Brewing Company in the heartland of Reading, Pennsylvania, which means we have with us
Kyle Neuheimer from Oakbrook Brewing.
All right, Kyle, thank you for having us out here. Thanks for spending some time with us. And I'm very happy to be here. I've heard a lot of good things so far.
Oh, great. Well, thanks for coming out, guys.
Yeah, it was long overdue, so I'm glad we could finally make it happen. We've got a lot of stuff ahead of us. My mouth is watering already because I've heard so much good. I think I had, at Reading Prep Beer Fest, I think I had one of your beers. I didn't get to have... Did you have two there, or did you have three?
Yeah, we had two. We had the seasonal wheat beer
That's
and
what I had.
something else.
I did have that one.
Something else.
The wheat was
Some other beer.
the wheat was amazing. That was my highlight of the day, and I knew that it was going to be good, and I'm very, very, very excited to try the other stuff that you have tonight.
There's that E word.
There's the E word.
He's breaking it out, people.
Hey, it's here to stay. Well, we can't.
You do you, Dan.
I'm going to do me.
You do you.
That sounded weird.
Now make us some money.
All right. We can't forget, of course, so we have to thank Audible for sponsoring this episode and all the episodes of Beer Busters podcast. Because let's face it, you have a busy life, and I know I'm busy and I want to read, but I don't have time to read. So why not let somebody do it for me through Audible? audibletrial.com/beerbusters. You can sign up for that free 30-day trial of an Audible account. Download, listen to, and keep an audiobook of your choosing. And it's really not that expensive if you want to keep it going. I mean, you get to choose from, there's over 250,000 books you can choose from. Just download it, listen to it. It will be in your cloud forever. And enjoy it as time goes on.
Definitely sounds like a good idea, Dan. I'm going to do that right now.
Cool.
But
before,
if you love Beer Busters and hate having extra money, do you know what else you can do? You can go to
That's a terrible commercial.
patreon.com/beerbusters, and you can sign up to become a patron. You can donate a couple bucks to us each time we release a podcast episode, or as little as $1 a month to help us keep the Beer Busters train running. You get cool behind-the-scene perks. You get cool outtakes from the podcast. You get to see things before everybody else. You get to know things before everybody else on the internet.
You will have the fastest ears and eyes.
You will have the fastest ears and eyes. You go to patreon.com/beerbusters and get your name in lights.
Yeah.
And be awesome, and we will
You're
love you.
promising things we can't
I
do.
have to.
Forever.
I know, Steph, you've got your paper ready, but I have to point out. At least we can say that we are using equipment that was funded by our patrons.
We are.
We have
Yes, that's true.
4 new microphones and 4 new microphone cables with us at the table today. We wanted to break them out now so we could get ready. We're recording this before the 100th episode because this is 98 comes before 100 chronologically, and also. But we want to break it out now and get used to it. But thank you to our patrons. This is proof right here that we are using that money to help us grow and get better and cut down on background noise so I have less editing I have to do. And we will hopefully sound better in the process. So
Yes.
Keep that train running. We can't thank you guys enough. There'll be the rewards Wayne mentioned. They'll evolve as time goes on. And Steph looks like she wants to talk about something now.
And if we raise,
commercial
I was going to say, if we
ever.
raise $1,000 on Patreon in the next month, Dan will promise to talk 50% less.
No. But I do
impossible.
also have to make for the shut up. For anybody who might be on the fence about going on Patreon, The next thing we're going to buy is a helicopter. So,
Oh my God.
True, yeah.
this way, Wayne
That is
and I.
The
actually-
closest thing to a helicopter you're going to get are those emojis you've sent me on your way here.
Well, that's
that's
actually
something.
true.
I'm tired of getting stuck in traffic, so help us buy the Beer Busters chopper so we can get places quicker.
And if you want to come hang out with us in person and listen to Dan speak in real time, you can see us at the Pottstown Brew Fest, returning to Manatoni Park on October 22nd, 2016, for a celebration of craft beer. Come and enjoy over 150 beers, ciders, and wines from 65 plus of the best craft libation makers in the Mid-Atlantic region and across the U.S. Don't forget about those VIP tickets. I'm not even sure they're the time of this being released. I'm not
Yeah,
sure how
there
many
might
are
not be
left.
any
So
left,
it's you're running out of time.
Go
but
check right now, and if there are tickets left, buy them because
For
they
shizzle.
will be gone.
Yes, those very, very awesome exclusive beers, which they are starting to release some of those on the Facebook event page. So come on out, see us, say hi, and drink some great libations.
Absolutely. We look forward to seeing you there. But before we get to a lot of other goodness that we have, here is something that I wish I had never seen. There are two breweries out of Portland, Oregon that have teamed up to bring the goodness of childhood breakfast to adult beverages, because we're in the age of, hey, let's make everything nostalgic just for the hell
Is
of it.
one of them Lucky Charms?
No, believe it or not, you're close.
Fruity
Count,
Pebbles?
Count Chocula?
Nope.
No Fruity
Fruit
Pebbles?
Loops?
Nope.
Blueberry?
Count Chocula?
Nope.
Straw.
One of you
What-
already said Count Chocula.
What is the other one? I said Count Chocula.
Blueberry.
Blueberry.
I said Blueberry as well.
Yeah.
There's a third
If
one.
there's money to be
No,
won here, I said it first.
There is another one. I can't remember what it is, though. But Montevilla Brewworks in Portland and Coin Toss Brewing in Oregon City have created a limited batch
Crisp.
Nope. Of Frosted Flakes,
Frosted Flakes.
Oh, of
cereal
course.
double IPA
Ew.
called Catch a Tiger.
Yeah, that sounds pretty gross.
Frosted Flake Double IPA?
Yep, it is a 10-barrel batch that is made from 25 pounds of Frosted Flakes mashed with Pilsner malt and 4 other specialty grains for a bitter flavor with citrus, pine, and orange aromas, none of which I think go with Frosty Flakes.
Yeah.
Catch a Tiger will be available, it's already available, and you may have missed it.
Will and have been
In Oregon at Montevilla. And I don't know why they ever thought that they should do that. But hey, it's a thing that happened, and they can say they did it. Congratulations.
That's a big thing, like taking childhood cereals now and making
And
beers
ruining
out of
our
them.
childhood? Yeah, I agree.
So, Kyle, which cereal are you going to make a beer out of?
Oh, man, that's a tough one. There are so many to choose from that can make bad beer.
I know, right? How about Kicks? It's already
Kicks.
it's pretty flavorless already. So
That's
you
true.
really
Yeah, but the tricks are kicks.
Kicks.
Kicks, that's different.
Kid tested,
How about
mother
Life?
approved.
Life.
Life cereal is pretty good.
I like it.
A little sweet,
A little bit.
grainy.
Yeah,
That
it could work, though. It could work. We could make that work.
Yes.
It'll
Yeah.
definitely be a small batch for sure.
of course.
And you know it would sell out in an hour.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
It's all about the adjuncts with that one.
Yes.
Very true.
Definitely.
Here's something I thought was kind of interesting. So we all know it's football season now as of this recording, and ESPN goes out to these football games, they'll broadcast, and people will try to have their signs that are held up.
This little
like-
outfit
like
you
they
may have
do.
heard of
Yeah,
called ESPN.
yeah.
They like to report on
They're a little
sports.
startup. They
Even
do
I know
sports,
what ESPN
entertainment,
is.
sports, something. Just as the article reads from our friends at Thrillist, just like barbecue food and beer, see if humorous signs are simply part of the college football tradition thanks to ESPN's College Game Day show. But during this past Saturday's broadcast from Bristol, Tennessee, it looks like one college student managed to capitalize on the ritual in a big way with a sign requesting beer money via his Venmo account. And since
Wait,
then...
via his what?
Venmo.
I don't know what that is.
It's an online payment system. I think it runs through...
like Apple Pay, but
no,
not
I think it
Apple
runs
Pay?
through PayPal, but it's quicker. The people that made PayPal made it.
So
So,
it's like Snapchat, but with money.
which Snapchat you actually can do money through. They call it Snap Cash. It's weird.
I'm even more confused.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yep.
Anyway,
Hey, dick
since,
pics don't come cheap, man.
No, they don't. Since this airing, he has received more than 2,000 beer money donations. An enterprising and
Is it
thirsty
2,000 beer monies.
No. An enterprising and thirsty college student named Sam Crowder managed to squeeze a sign into the frame during College Game Day reading, "Hi, Mom, send beer money," along with his Venmo username. Now, Venmo, they don't publish how much each donation is, but as of the writing of this article, it was over 2,000. And that includes one for $50 from, where was it? At least one donation of $50 from a source I can't find because I'm looking at it on my phone. But this dude got over 2,000. So if you assume even if $1 was the minimum that somebody sent you, he's got $2,000 at least towards beer money. So no matter what beer he drinks on the reg, and considering he's a college kid, it's probably cheap beer. He's set. He's good for a while. Kudos to this kid.
You go to patreon.com/beerbusters and donate money to us so we can buy
We
beer.
don't have $2,000.
Yeah, exactly. There's one other thing I want to run through really quickly. It crossed the wire pretty recently. So we all know a while ago I reported on SodaStream doing their little beer whatever thing. It's getting kind of out of control. And there's something now called the Brewery, which they are, quote, the world's first fully automated home brewery. You can brew your own beer with a single push of a button. It includes a social media platform to share the experiences and recipes with others.
So it's like a GoPro on your homebrew system?
No, because GoPro would just be the camera. This is actually a system to brew on. It gets better. It comes with, quote, several mashing bags, because more bags, more taste.
Mashing bags.
4 automated hop cages.
Hop cages.
Brewery allows you to control the sparging process, thanks autocorrect, as you can set the time and temperature, your ingredients, your parameters, your beer.
Defense
How many
brewing.
yeast aquariums does it come with?
Exactly. It's got a water in and output.
And it comes with an assistant
No, it's
brewer.
got a water in and a beer out.
And a beer. Well, you'd like to think that.
Wort out.
The parts that includes mashing tank, boiling tank, and hop tanks. Remember, there's 4 of them. You connect to your home water system automatically. What? The hop cages. There's 4 of them. So it has hop tanks, and there's 4 cages of hops inside of them. So you could add up to 4 hop
Okay.
Varieties?
Thank you.
Right.
Connects to your home water system and automatically measures water.
Because they need to be separated?
Exactly.
I don't understand what's going on here.
It connects to your home water system and automatically measures the water for you, so you can add that, or you can use spring water if you don't want to use your own tap water. It also features...
Or some Mountain Dew. I mean,
Exactly.
who cares at this point, right? What does it matter?
It also features USB connectivity, so in case you can't get online to go on their social network, you can load your own recipe from a USB drive.
Oh, man, no Bluetooth.
No Bluetooth.
No, that's probably going to be in 2.0.
All right.
No wireless headphones?
It uses the app and the software to guide you through it all. Now, you can pre-order this as of now for the low price of $1,849, which is a discount.
Actually, not as
For a
much as I
pre-order.
was expecting.
I know.
Yeah.
But shipping in the U.S. is $150.
I still don't completely understand what I'm buying.
I don't know, but I think it also costs a little bit of your soul.
Probably. It's just basically, it's a homebrew system. Now, I don't understand this. The dimensions of it don't really match up with what I figured, because the minimum water input is 10 liters and the maximum is 20 liters, and that could take up a fair amount of space. The dimensions of this thing are only 29 inches by 13 by 18. Now, it's going to come with, for your $1,850, one brewery
I need
machine,
to see a picture.
one, quote, false bottom, 4 hop cages, 3 mashing bags, 2 low-pressure hoses, 1 high-pressure hose, soft and hard sanitizers, quick setup guide, which they had to list twice for some reason, one right under the other, and an 18-month warranty.
Wait, does it actually come with any kettles?
No, it doesn't seem like it. This is like I went
So
through
it's
this,
not really a brew system. It's like accessories for a brew system.
but it's like this one self-contained unit. But I don't. We'd have to get a picture. I know it
I don't
sounds
understand.
weird. I went through the website like 4 times to make sure I had a better grasp of what this thing does, and I am still confused out of my mind. And I don't want to spend. There's very few things I want to spend $1,800 on, and this is certainly not one of them. But if you pre-order, all sales
But we're
are
still
final.
talking about it.
Once you pre-order,
All sales are final.
Yes, all sales are final. You can't cancel your order and return it because cancellation of orders may hamper our ability to deliver quality products. I don't know what you're getting,
Right.
But you can order a brewery if you don't like
I'm
having
just,
an extra $1,800.
Picturing like a mechanical abomination that you just like throw a bunch of
it looked ugly. I'm going to try to pull a picture of it
supposedly
now.
beer
While you're pulling up a
ingredients
picture,
into.
I forgot to mention at the top of the episode, I need to say hello to Ashley Rogers.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi,
She is
Ashley.
now 21.
Hey,
happy birthday.
Which is crazy because I knew her when she was 9.
You have a reason to listen to our show now.
You can figure that out, but her parents were here tonight, and I got to catch up with them. And so, Ashley, if you're listening, hi, and it's great to hear that you're doing so well.
Yes.
Yay.
All right, so Wayne, we have to get this on the website. That is the brewery.
What is it's like a
It's a rectangular prism.
Yeah.
you know what that is? It's the internet without the light on top.
It is. You're right. The elders of the internet have started brewing beer. I don't really understand how it works.
Amazing. It's for everybody listening to this podcast who can't see what we're talking about.
Right.
It's literally
Too
a
effing bad.
metallic
It's- yeah.
rectangular prism.
Yeah.
It's like a
It's-
stainless steel rectangle that has at brewery written on. It's I don't know. It'll be on the website. We're
Okay,
gonna
let's move on.
Exactly.
It's really
Yeah.
strange.
Let's go on to much better things because we're at Oakbrook and I'm very happy to be here. And Kyle, thank you again for having us out here. So you...
I was like, oh, I should start paying attention.
Oh, yeah. I guess my turn now, right? So you've opened this year. You were March?
Yeah, early March of this year.
Half of that came out as a sentence. I'm glad you knew what I meant.
You were March?
You were March, right? So we're 6 months in. How's it been so far?
Great.
Good.
Yeah, it's been great. Obviously when a new brewery opens in a neighborhood, there's a lot of initial interest. So when we opened, things were just absolutely insane and like, wow, how are we going to handle this? And then, thankfully, after the initial interest died down, things went down to a decent pace. And now we're just getting a lot of slow but steady growth. So,
good.
Yeah, things are looking really good.
Good.
Very good.
Yeah, just like I said, everything I've heard so far, Wayne, is just through the roof for you guys. I mean, I know...
You just wait till we get that $1,000 on Patreon.
Make sure we stop at $9.99, guys.
Sorry, just kidding. Go ahead.
But yeah, everything seems like it's been great. Most of the Yelp reviews are super positive. Facebook reviews are great. Friends and family reviews certainly speak to a lot of that.
I'm here all the time. I love it.
Steph's here all the time. But it's good to see him. You're the first one in Reading in 6 years, right?
Yeah, I believe since Neversink. I believe was the last in Reading. And that was about 6 years ago that they left.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Now, are we just talking like Reading proper or not Berks, right? Because I know in Berks others have... Okay.
Right, yeah, in the city of Reading.
Okay.
Yep.
But still, it's still really cool because, I mean... I know they're trying to revitalize a lot of the downtown, and I mean, if you go right up Lancaster Ave, boom, you're in downtown Reading, basically. So it's part of that whole effort, which I think is going to be great. I mean, just looking at everybody that's here so far tonight, it seems like it's already on a good foot.
I think so. I mean, when we were looking from the beginning to do something in Reading, it's my hometown. I'm from the Reading area, and there's a lot going on.
So are we.
There's a lot of efforts going on downtown, in the core of downtown, but things tend to move a little slow down there. There are a lot of much larger efforts going on that move a little more slowly than what we were prepared to wait out. So we really were looking more to do something out in a neighborhood. We wanted to be the local brewery, local brew pub you could walk to. And that we found this neighborhood, and it's a great part of Reading, and I think there's a lot of opportunity out here, and there's a lot of potential for growth out here as well.
And you didn't just choose any random building.
Yeah,
I mean, we're in a pretty special building.
Coolest thing about this place.
We got really lucky when we got this building. So the building is a 1905 retired fire station that actually served this community before it was even part of the city of Reading, and was part of the Reading firefighting system and was retired in 2010. So this actually was a functioning fire station up until about 5 or 6 years ago. And then we got a hold of it, and we put some restoration efforts in to get the place to have the look and feel of what it had in the 1930s. The paint, the decor, the lighting fixtures, they're all from documentation we found from that era. So it's been that even outside of the beer, outside of the brewing, that was just a hell of a fun project to do, to get the building back from where it was to this state.
Was that something that was important to you when you decided you wanted to open a brewery, to choose a building like this, something to restore?
Absolutely, without a doubt. We were looking for a spot that had... There were some intangibles, but there were things we knew we wanted, and a lot of it was inspired by the brew pubs and the breweries that I had spent time out in Portland, Oregon when I lived out there. And the breweries out there, the brew pubs had overhead doors. You could ride your bike in right off the street. They would go as far as have bike racks right by the bar. They tended to be in historic buildings that had some that had maybe outlived their original purpose, that were in danger of being lost. Interesting architecture, interesting history, and we really were looking informally for a spot when we stumbled across this. And when we found this, it was like, hey, this is it. Let's make some really hard decisions. Are we ready to do this? And then we entered into the process of buying the building, which is a whole other story. At the end of the day, we got lucky. We got a great building. It's something that has such a rich history. We get people in every single day that have ties to this building in one way or another. They bring us things that departed the building over the years that are now being returned, old photos, memorabilia from the station, and it's just been awesome to see everybody's response when they come in, when they see what we've done with it.
So being an old firehouse, there's an upstairs. Now, do you guys do anything with the upstairs?
No, not at this point. I mean, really, we put our efforts into getting this first floor open. The second floor is a major undertaking from a code standpoint. So we thought, let's get it started, let's get it open, and see if we have the support that we expected we'd have, and then we'll circle back around and see if we can do something on the second floor when it needs demand it.
Is there a poll I can slide down from
There's
stairs?
no pole.
Damn it.
And I wish I had a better
Everyone
story.
asked that.
Everybody asked that, and I need to get a story on that.
thought it
But
was
there's
gonna
no
be-
pole. No.
So it's really cool. All the memorabilia on the walls, the old pictures. There's an old
Yeah, the uniform that's over there.
chief's
Yeah,
jacket of some sort.
Yeah, that's a full uniform from the 1930s. One of the the neighbors right behind the station's a gentleman who had 4 or 5 brothers that all served here in some capacity. He was the youngest of them. I believe he's 85 or 86 now, and he donated that to us and said, this has been in my closet. I'd much rather have this on display. I will give this to you if you put it, if you have a place to put it on display.
That's pretty awesome.
It is, and then other things followed: badges, medals, things that everything comes from this station. From here.
Great. So the weird things hanging from the ceiling over there, are those the alarm?
No, those actually are not original.
Okay.
We needed when we were looking for some kind of sound system. We really didn't want to put in off-the-shelf speakers.
Okay.
So
Okay.
those are actually speakers you're hearing. The 1930s music that we're playing through there, blues, are coming out of those, and they're period correct. They're not from this station.
Right.
But
right.
I found one of them at an antique shop years and years ago. Snagged it. Didn't know what I was going to do with it. When we got this and we were looking for some way to putting audio in, I went out and hunted down 2 more on eBay. Took a while, found them.
So those
restored them.
are like original. They're not like recreations, are they?
No,
like
no,
actually-
those are from the early 1940s, and we just took the guts out of them, sanded them down, put new cores in them, and wired them up, and they're good to go.
That's pretty cool. Those are pretty awesome. I like that.
And you also, your beers here, that I know you focus on traditional beer styles, but a lot of the beers also kind of give a nod back to the fire station, like the Parrot, for example.
Yeah, the Parrot's great. So one of the things we learned when we bought the station is we didn't just get the building, we got its history. And it was a well-documented history. And part of that is Polly, who was the station's mascot from the 1920s into the 1940s. And old archives, newspaper archives, and some research, we found that Polly was a bit of a celebrity in the neighborhood. Pretty well known. She would ride on the bell of the truck during the fire parades, and would be in the adjacent park next door and play with the kids. And everybody in the neighborhood knew her. And we thought, wow, what a great mascot to bring back and to associate with our brewery and brew pub. So yeah, we've named a couple of beer after Polly. We've got some photos of her, and she's also our mascot as well.
Do you plan on getting your own parrot?
Has
anybody asked you that one before? I'm going to get one question that nobody's asked.
I haven't given up on finding Polly.
Okay. Well, yeah, parrots do live a while.
They live a while. That's the
Yeah.
thing. We know they bought her in 1927. We're doing the math. They can live 100 years.
Well, you know what I'm thinking?
You know.
A parrot, a pole, train the parrot to slide down the pole. Those are the 2 things you need to make happen. 3 things you need to make happen. 2 things you need to get, and then combine them.
You've in such a short time encapsulated what I've been thinking so well.
See? There we go. A parrot and a pole at Oakbrook Brewing.
Now, my favorite beer here is Smoky. Your smoked porter. Is
Yes.
Smoky named after a dog that was here, or is it just like a nod to the dogs that were
No,
here?
there was a dog here named Smokey, and there's there's a story about Smokey. There's a story about everything in this position. It's unbelievable. But we learned after Polly was gone, there were 2 dogs here, Smokey and Spot. Smokey was not allowed to ride on the truck because he would bite anybody who got between him and the truck.
I love the beer even more right now.
And we heard that story from a number of people, and then we had a gentleman come in one day, elderly gentleman, and he said, when I was here, my grandfather used to bring me here when I was a kid. And I said, well, when was that? And he told me the time frame, and it turns out it was right around the time that Smokey was here. I said, well, that's funny because that beer you're having is named after the dog that was here during that time. His name was Smokey. His eyes lit up. He walked over to the arches over here, and he said, yeah. And he slept right here. And every time I'd walk around the truck, I'd get behind my grandfather's leg because he would try to bite me.
Nice.
So we independently verified.
Yes.
Oh, I
That's
love
pretty
it.
awesome. So I can just kind of see back past the bar into the brewing space back there. So
Yes.
it's tough to judge from here how much room you have. But what size system do you have in here?
So that room, our brewery in the back is it's pretty laid out, pretty efficient. It's about 480 square feet. We have a 5-barrel system back there in the brew house. Originally, we were going to size everything at 7-barrel. Our fermenters are 7-barrel. Our serving tanks are 7-barrel. But a local brewery, not too far away, South County Brewing.
I was going to make him guess. I was going to say, you have filmed that brew system before, but in a
That's
different
right.
brewery.
You know what? And I knew that. That's right. Yep.
Well, they got up and running with that system,
Yep.
and he used that, and JR used that for quite a while before they invested in the other end of the spectrum, which was an incredibly advanced high-end brew house. So we thought it was good enough to get him up and running, and they make some great beer. He was looking to upgrade his system, so we snagged it while we could, even though it was a little smaller than we had planned at 5. Still plenty big for the size and what our needs are here.
And you have a pilot system as well back there, right?
Yeah, we do. We have a 20-gallon electric pilot system that we use for recipe development and experimental brews.
And now when you say we, you're the brewer here.
I am.
You are the founder, the owner, the brewer.
The historian, the curator.
You do. You wear a lot of hats here.
I do.
How do you balance all of that?
There's no balance.
Your wife
There's
just
no
never
balance.
sees you.
Nah. It's pretty much. It's truthfully. It's we started really kicking things into high gear here about a month before we opened, like early February. Between early February and August. It was every day. It was every waking hour, every minute. It is, and I think that's one of the things that surprised me is how much there is. You think about the beer. What you don't think about are all the other things that aren't the beer that take up so
wait,
much
things
time.
that aren't beer?
Yeah, believe it or not, yes. But during that time frame, it was every single day. Now we're finally getting to the point now where things are getting a little more regimented. I'm starting to feel like a brewer instead of putting out fires all the time. So it's
Pun intended,
yes.
The metaphorical fires.
But so we're finally getting to the point now where things are coming down to a reasonable pace, and we're getting a production schedule and all the things a brewery is supposed to have.
How long have you been brewing yourself? I'm guessing you were a home brewer before?
I was a home brewer for about 8 years.
Okay.
About 8 years.
And what got you into that?
I noticed a lot of people in the brewing world have come from either like an engineering background, an awful lot. I think it's because we can't leave anything alone and we're never satisfied. And it was really just to tweak with beer, to try to see what I could do and challenge myself in doing some new things and just making it a little different, having the control over the process. And it just was really intriguing to me. And the more I studied it, the more I learned, the more it was something I wanted to study more and learn more of. And it just got to the point of an interest to an obsession to the point where I own a firehouse filled with brewing equipment.
And you've come up with some pretty creative beers this summer, especially. You had the Blood Orange IPA, which we'll get to taste later. You had the raspberry. Was that the IPA that you put the raspberries in?
The raspberry wheat.
The raspberry wheat,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
And the one with the rosemary in.
The Venerable Parrot, yeah.
That was quite tasty. So, but what new brews can people look forward to this fall? What else is...
We got a couple of things coming up this fall. Traditionally, as you go into fall, we get into some darker beers and widen our selections at that end. We've got a chocolate stout coming up that's fairly traditional. Then we have one that's sort of a little bit of a twist on it. It's a dark chocolate stout with a habanero kick to it. And we've got a really great name and some great artwork for the release of that, and we're really, really looking forward to releasing that beer.
I'm really, really looking forward to that.
I had a feeling you would.
In addition to that, we have a brown ale, our 1938 special, which is one of our flagship beers. It's usually on tap here. We're going to be doing an imperial version of that with an imperial brown, so we're looking forward to that as well.
And did you say you're doing an Irish red also?
We are doing an Irish red. We had brought one on the experimental tap, and it just went over so well that we decided to go ahead and do that on a production scale. So that'll be coming up probably sooner than any of the others that I have mentioned. That's going to be coming up. I think that's more of an early fall beer. So we're going to have that one coming up. Yeah.
Very cool. I can't wait.
Aside from beer, there's also food here, which I can smell.
Which is why I came early.
Yeah. It smells really good. So tell us a little bit about what you offer here on the nosh side.
Sure. So this has the feel of a beer hall. It just has the feel of the beer hall. The layout of the tables we did everything kind of in the beer hall style. And in keeping with that, we have a lot of beer hall oriented type food: smoked kielbasa, grilled kielbasa. We have some vegan options and vegetarian options as well,
which are both amazing. I've had the vegan brat a few times, which is totally tasty, but I had the chickpea salad sandwich for the first time tonight. Holy crap, that thing is so good.
Dawn's done a great job.
Tasty.
Our brew hall manager's done a great job with the vegan options, and that one she makes completely from scratch in-house. and it's gone. I mean, we keep hearing there are not enough local options for vegetarian and vegans, and I think it's something that we can do here well, and people have really taken to, and it kind of goes with craft beer as well. So yeah, so we got
and it
that.
fits in with the other items you have on the menu.
It does,
and it's not another veggie burger.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
I appreciate.
And we did that intentionally. We tried to steer clear of the hamburger, the hamburger hot dog,
The
traditional route. Yeah.
And you work with a lot of local food vendors.
Yeah, that was one of the things we decided early on was we wanted to feature as many local foods as we could. And one of our partners in the sense is Muddy's Barbecue, which is a local barbecue joint.
Oh, they are so good.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever had that.
You will tonight? Making sure you eat before you leave.
So good.
It's good stuff, and we wanted to open up and have something to offer on the food side that people already knew and already enjoyed, and that was a huge help for us to be able to open and hit the ground running with some food that had already been established.
Soft pretzels.
Yeah, they're
Hard
actually
pretzels?
made at Reading Hard and Soft Pretzel Company on Bell Alley. Everybody around here just calls it Bell Alley, but they're a local pretzel place, literally 5 minutes from here across the bridge.
Well, if you want to do local food in Reading, pretzels have to be involved.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and they have the bologna and cheese.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
everybody from Berks County needs their bologna
Exactly.
and cheese. So
And
you can get your Berks County fix.
To show about Reading, with pretzels and all, I went to the Cayman Islands, like 16 or so. It was family vacation. You didn't want to go for some reason. I don't
Family
know why.
vacation minus you.
Yeah.
Well, these things happen.
Well, we
I was
went
probably
there.
smoking weed.
Probably. We went grocery shopping, and I remember we got a case of vanilla Coke, and we walked down the snack aisle, and there was a bag of pretzels made in Reading, Pennsylvania.
Nice.
In
Of
Grand
course.
Cayman.
Of course.
So Reading is known for those pretzels, and I can verify
That is like Reading's one major export. It's pretzels.
Well, that
and beer
heroin.
podcasts.
Hot dogs.
And hot dogs.
Glad nobody heard what I said.
I did actually
I didn't hear what you said either.
And heroin.
Oh, the internet did. Oh.
Yes. Well,
Jeez, okay.
Another shout out to Stuff from Reading. So I know you've got
Shout out to Stuff from Reading.
Yeah, another shout out to heroin.
Was that a shout out? Is
Wait,
that what I heard?
What happened to our podcast?
So-
did you guys make a decision when I wasn't around?
It's when I decided to buy the helicopter. It all happened then. But so you have more offerings here from Reading besides the food. Then too, I noticed table across the way there's somebody who's drinking Reading draft soda.
The soda.
Yeah, yes.
Which I find awesome. I did one of my radio projects in school was on Reading draft soda. They have a very special place in my heart and bloodstream.
Yeah, it's great stuff too, and there's not a lot of venues in Reading where you can get Reading draft soda. Go figure. But they make it literally 2 blocks away from our brewery here, so we can walk down.
they're that
and get
close?
Yeah, they're literally right across the avenue down here. So.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Huh. What prompted?
They're a good place to get CO2 also.
Well,
Let's
that's
put it
good.
out there.
Yes.
What prompted you want to do that? But did you want to keep it local? Did you decide you wanted to offer soda for anybody who wasn't drinking, and then just thought of them, or was it because of proximity?
Yeah, well, it's all of the above, really.
All the above,
It was really wanting to keep as much business local to Reading, to the Reading area as we possibly could. And we're still trying. I mean, there's some things we have to go outside of for, and we're still trying to find local sources for them. It's an ongoing process. But there was no way we could not serve their product when they're literally, 2 blocks away from us. And it's great. It's great soda too.
Oh, I didn't know they were that close. Yeah. It is great soda. It is. Good stuff.
You got really excited about that.
It's because when I don't drink much soda anymore. Well, I mean, I have the Soda Stream, but I don't drink much like Coke or Pepsi or anything anymore. But when I drank more soda, I would go out of my way to get that. And the broke college kid buying craft soda like that, like it meant a lot to me. So it's nice and nostalgic to see it here. So I appreciate that.
I'm glad we could
having
take you
a
back to that
moment
place.
here.
Yeah, really.
So you have connection to local food places, but also to some local nonprofit organizations as well.
Yeah, so again, keeping in with the firehouse and the fire company and the history of the building, we wanted to incorporate fundraising for local nonprofits as well as part of our identity. It's just from the very beginning part of who we are and what we wanted to do here. So we've partnered up with a number of local nonprofits, Reading Public Library, the Reading Public Museum. We did a fundraiser for them as well. We have an ongoing effort as part of our Drink Beer Do Good campaign, where we raise money by donating 25 cents a pint to a local nonprofit, and our customers get to choose which one of the 4 that we're working with at any point in time that the proceeds of that drink go to. So it's been interesting, and it's really a great feeling when we see people who get a token when they buy their drink realize they get to target their donation to the nonprofit and the cause that that they most personally relate to.
And I love that they put the token in the fireman boot.
Well, yeah, that's a
perfect.
that's a firefighter tradition, right? You know, when they're doing a fundraiser, they stand out in the corner with the boot.
Down the parade carrying them.
So we thought, hey, let's put up 4 boots. We'll put a logo on for each of the 4 nonprofits we're working with, and then like I said, when you get a drink, you get a token, you drop it in the boot, and it's an action. It's not a passive act. It's not a vague percentage goes to a nonprofit. It's a token that you get in your hand, and you feel like you're actually doing something proactive to support that nonprofit, and people really respond to it well. It's great.
And you've supported the Reading Police Canine Unit, Trout Unlimited, Reading Public Library,
and the Keystone Fire Company, which isn't actually a functioning fire company anymore, but they actually procure old antique city firefighting equipment and restore it to get it back to either running condition or to museum quality. They've done a lot of the restorations that are on display down at the Reading Firefighters Museum on Laurel Street. And they have approached us about maybe being able to do something for them to raise some money to support some of their ongoing restoration work. So.
And you've also, beyond just the donation of the tokens with each beer that's purchased, you've done some events as well. I was here for the Reading Public Museum when you guys raised money for the dinosaur, and Dawn got in the T-Rex uniform, which was great. This place was packed.
It was awesome.
Wall to wall with people.
You know, there was for those who don't know, there was an incident where there was some vandalization at the museum to an outdoor exhibit that they had. It was a dinosaur exhibit. It was an animatronic dinosaur, and the whole community responded really well to making sure that they had the funds and the resources to get that thing working and get it back into its original condition again. We wanted to be a part of that, so we hosted a night here where we donated 20% of the day's sales to the museum, and the museum responded so well. They alone, their staff alone, had this place almost packed. Then they brought out the dinosaur, this just awesome dinosaur costume. Dawn, our brew hall manager, volunteered to get in it, and it was awesome. The kids just loved it, and it was just a really great time. It was a really great day. Of the 6 months that we've been open, I think that night is probably a highlight to me more so even than our opening night. It was just awesome.
Cool.
It was awesome.
You can't go wrong with dinosaurs.
No,
it's
true.
No,
and even the little girl that was here that kind of started this campaign to raise money to fix this dinosaur. So to see her just smiling and running around here and taking her picture with the dinosaur, and Lindsay from the museum was here, and it was a really, really great event.
Yeah, and that's I mean, the staff here likes working here because we do things like that, and that's part of our identity, and we're really excited about what we're able to do in the next 6 months. The first 6 months have been a blast, but we're really looking forward to some of the stuff that we're going to be doing in the near future.
And you have a few events coming up, like Berks County. We just got our own chapter of Girls Pine Out.
Isn't that great?
That's amazing. I'm excited about this.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, and we found out about that right as they were forming, and we got on board early with that because we definitely want to support them and encourage them and help them grow.
Nice, and hopefully they'll come back regularly for that as well. And you're also doing an upcoming fundraiser with Thanks, the Helping a Needy Kid organization.
Yeah, actually, an ex-coworker of mine approached me about that. It's an organization that helps raise money to give kids, underprivileged kids, usually in Title I schools, the funds they need to participate in extracurricular activities that they otherwise wouldn't have. And that can range anywhere from certain sports to music, and not necessarily school-related events, but taking music lessons, taking guitar lessons, things that kids want to do. Every kid wants to do. Every kid has some hobby, some interest, some pursuit, and there are so many who do not have the means to pursue them. And I think it's just a great organization and a great cause to try to help them.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. So heartwarming.
All warm and fuzzy.
Yes.
And dinosaurs.
What more could you want?
I know, right? Well, I'll tell you what more I could want.
Beer?
And it's sitting in front of us right now.
In front of us. Yeah, my mouth is watering right now.
Let's do this.
Beer me! Beer me! Beer me! Beer me!
Now, one of these beers looks very familiar, and I can't wait to have it again because it's been, 5 months? Yeah, because it was in April.
It was in April, sure.
The thing. But that's one of the beers we're having, so I guess that's one everybody else has in front of them, so let me start with that.
Let's start there.
It is the wheat, the seasonal wheat, garnished with a nice little lemon slice, the way that it should be.
I love that even the sampler glass gets the lemon slice.
I like the the flight size lemon slice.
Yeah,
that's
nice.
This is exactly what I needed for today.
It's so yeasty and weedy and citrusy.
What's really great is, So I plunked my lemon right in because I'm just a dive in head first kind of guy. But
All right, I'm doing it.
yeah, the first sip was very yeasty, very bready, very nice and like hearty. But then like the citrus from the lemon sort of started to seep out, and
Oh,
the
yeah.
second, like it gives it
changes
this
it a little
nice
bit.
tart sweetness.
I have to
comes
say,
in.
there is something nice about leaving it on the rim of the glass when you take a sip, but if you breathe in through your
Yeah.
nose, you get the smell of
enjoying
the
that.
citrus with the flavor of the beer. That adds a different level. I wish I would have done that last time, but I was already drunk by the time I had this. So learn from my mistake, but this is delicious. It's nice and crisp and refreshing, and it's perfect for the cool fall evening that we're at, but it's also good for
sort of tail end of summer. It's a good tail
but
end of
this
summer.
would be good on a hot summer day too. It would be the beer I would go to after, I don't know, doing some sort of outside activity.
Yeah. Well, when we brewed this one, we were really looking to do a wheat beer that would appeal to more than someone who just thought they liked wheat beers.
Right.
Right.
And we get that. I can't tell you how many people when they've come in and said, we put a flight together, and they're like, nah, I don't want the wheat. I'm like, well, take a taste of it, because this is not your typical wheat. It doesn't have that phenolic Hefeweizen kind of yeast flavor going. It's not a heavy beer at all in any way. It's very crisp, and we've gotten a lot of good feedback on it, and that has been actually, and this is really hard to believe, that has been outselling our IPA.
What? Congratulations.
Thank you.
What?
Through the summer and through the warm weather, this was we've brewed more of this beer than any other beer.
Only because you're in Reading, and Readings have a strong German heritage. Readings have a strong German heritage of appreciating good beer. This is really, really nice. I like how full-bodied it is, but it's also very drinkable and crisp and refreshing at the same time. Very nice.
Yeah, I love this beer. It's satisfying. It's one of those beers that is truly satisfying when you just need it. If that makes sense.
It does. It absolutely does.
Satisfying when you need it.
So this seasonal was on pretty much all summer. Is there going to be a long-term seasonal to replace this for the cold months?
That's the plan. When we brewed this, we thought it would be a one batch and done. We really did.
And
we
the people spoke.
And the people spoke. So now I kind of boxed myself into a little bit of a corner calling it a seasonal. We've had people ask, what's going to happen after the summer? It's not going away, is it? Well, we do have a name registered for our American wheat. So it may slide into that spot, and
Nice.
we might keep it on past the summer. But our seasonal beer, we will have some darker beers coming up on the seasonal tab.
You could just not use seasonal as like an adjective for the beer, like this is our seasonal, but you could make that's the name of the beer.
Right.
It is the seasonal wheat beer.
That might confuse people, though.
Well, so as long as they order it, right?
That's a good point.
For more brewery advice, Wayne.
Yeah,
Wayne
exactly.
at beerbusterspodcast.com.
Beer marketing advice. You take care of the actual brew.
Yeah. What kind of darker beers do you have lined up for winter seasonal?
So for winter season, we've got as mentioned before, the chocolate stout.
Right,
that we're working on. I wouldn't call this necessarily a darker beer. We do have a Maibach that I've been experimenting a little bit, and I think I'm going to be releasing that in the cooler weather here. We've got the habanero stout that I've mentioned,
Right.
and there's pretty soon we're going to actually have an Oktoberfest coming out.
All right.
shortly, so
Nice,
it'll be coming up
nice.
as well.
Because those Reddings love their
Those
Oktoberfest.
With that German heritage in the Reddings.
Yes.
Now, is this one looks to be brown? Is this the 1938?
That's a 1938 special. Now, the batch we're tasting tonight, we're in between our full production batches on the 38. We ran out of it a little bit sooner than we had expected. So I've got another batch in the fermenter. This actually comes off our pilot system. So I'm a little concerned the hop extraction was a little higher on this batch than our production. But it's essentially based on a British nut brown style. And it's been surprisingly popular for us so far. This has been on since our opening night.
I love
It's
the
really
aroma
good.
off.
It's
There's something
really
in it
good.
that I can't put my finger on, but there's something.
There's like a chocolate flavor that
Yeah,
I'm getting out of it,
yeah.
like a bitter chocolate. I
Yeah.
was not expecting. Yeah.
It's nice. I remember
Oh, my
having
God.
this when you first opened, and it seems a lot more complex than before. I mean, it was good before, but it seems like it's like the malt notes are so much more pronounced now.
It could be. It could be. We've made some minor adjustments to the recipe. I mean, I wanted to keep it the same beer, so I didn't make any drastic changes. But we have tweaked it a little bit, and I think I'm pretty proud of this one, to be honest with you. I've been really happy with it. It's not necessarily the most in vogue style. I mean, a nut brown style isn't something that's necessarily everybody's rushing out to make sure they get out in front. But it's nice to have it. It's nice to have the option there. And we have people who come in just for this beer. It has we've gotten a loyal following on this one.
It's a good go-to beer.
Yeah.
And it would pair really well with pretty much any food you have on the menu.
Particularly some barbecue.
It's going to be able to stand up to that.
So I know you're heavy into history, but 1938, is that significant for the fire company?
It is significant. This building was actually two separate buildings when it was built. The section behind the arches that you see where the bar is and the cooler were the horse stables. And originally it was a horse-drawn engine. And we even have some photos of the original horses, Joe and Dan, over here on the day they were retired.
Too bad they're not Wayne and Dan. How funny would that be?
But in 1938, they renovated the station, and they combined the two sections. Actually, it was in 36. They combined the two sections. We found photographs taken in 1938 that were the basis of our restoration. They showed us the paint scheme. They showed us the light fixtures, the way everything was laid out. And we used those photos as a template for the restoration efforts. And we got really lucky in the sense that we actually found the paint with the colors still fairly vibrant underneath a panel we pulled off the wall. So we could tell by the stripe that runs down the middle of the building that it was the decor in 1938. When the photo was taken, and we used that, like I said, as our basis. So we thought, we should have a beer that kind of gives a nod to that era,
of course, yeah.
And as well. So that's where the name originates from and the significance.
Is there a reason you decided to give that name to this beer and this style?
Yeah, it is, because it's a little bit of a retro effort on this beer. The recipe that we used for it is influenced by recipes from that era. From that time.
Very nice. I need to drink more English-style beers. Every time we go somewhere that has an ESB,
amazing.
a bitter...
They're absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And you know what? Whenever I go to the West Coast, I always assume, the IPAs are what are going to be my favorite. But the last two times we came back from the East Coast, it's the British-style ales that I was talking about. I mean the West Coast, the West Coast. You know what I mean. I didn't even drink that much. But, when the first time we were in San Francisco, Magnolia, oh, my God. They just make the most insanely delicious, and they are all British style ales. And then we just came back from Pacific Northwest. As Kyle knows, we got a lot of advice from him on our travels there. And in Portland, Machine House Brewing, all they do is cask only British style real ales. Amazing beers. And I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, why don't I drink more of these? Yeah. And so it's nice that there are some good East Coast breweries that are making them too. I don't know. Maybe I just don't pay attention to them when I'm home.
Yeah, I'm surprised that there would be West Coast breweries that would not that they would have English styles, but that they would focus on English styles because they're so much further away from the UK than we are.
I don't know what it is, but
it just doesn't.
For some reason,
it
took me going to the West Coast to appreciate British style ales again.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's this movement on the East Coast with the East Coast IPA.
The Pacific Northwest, I could see the fog and the rain and the gloomy weather is kind of...
Well, San Francisco has the fog in the morning. So.
That's true. But back here on the East Coast, very well executed.
Absolutely.
English style here at Oakbrook.
Yeah, it's a full-bodied one, and I really enjoy that. So starting with that extra chocolate... I guess it is
it does. It has a surprising chocolate character right up front.
There's a little bit of a light chocolate malt in there.
Yeah, okay.
It's just so nutty.
Yeah. It's really nice.
Yeah.
But it finishes with that nice tea-like character that good English beers have.
With just a hint of sweetness. Just a pinch.
It's delicious. It's amazing.
It's magically delicious.
There you go.
Back to the cereal.
Back to cereal.
So
comes back to cereal.
On a related note, do you guys sell growlers here? Do you do growler fills?
Yeah, we do. We'll fill your growler if you bring it in, and then we also sell our own growlers at a very reasonable price.
Nice. And the reason I say that's a related note is because I'm starting to think I might be taking a growler.
Don't you wish you still lived in Reading now?
No.
We'll keep working on him.
Bring him on back home. Cool. Well, this is a great way to start off tasting for the show. But I feel like we should play a little bit of a game. Don't you agree, Wayne?
Yeah, let's do that. We never play games on this podcast.
No, we don't have any fun. This is all strictly business. Let's have a little bit of fun.
It's not going to be dodgeball, is it? I got some bad memories.
Not going to be dodgeball.
Well, Wayne, what do we have?
Well, Cheers, Internet, and welcome to Happy Fun Time Games, the only podcast trivia segment that needs no introduction, but insists on having one anyway. And today we embark upon the continuation of the beer education of the Beer Busters Nation that is everyone's favorite, Libation or Fabrication. And for those of you new to the party, this is a game in which I will give you the name of something, and you must tell me if that something is a real beer or a fake beer that I made up in my head. And we will begin this game to my left with Kyle, our honored guest this evening. Is this a real beer or is it fake? This is Nug E Fresh.
Oh, that's got to be real. That's got to be real.
Gotta be real, says Kyle. Steph, what do you think?
Nug E Fresh?
Nug E Fresh.
Well, I'm thinking nugget hops right away. It does sound like something you would come up with, but I'm going to say real.
Steph is also going to say real, and finally Dan.
I am going to buck the trend and say you made that up.
Dan bucking the trend doesn't pay off this time around because it is, in fact, real.
I gave you
Fresh
too much credit.
Was a fresh-hopped red ale from Ninkasi Brewing in Eugene, Oregon. A lot of the Pacific Northwest going on this evening. This was brewed back in 2009. It was made with 200 pounds of fresh nugget hops from Sodbuster Farms in Kaiser, Oregon. The hops were only 1 hour off the vine when they were put into the kettle.
Can I just point out that Doug E. Fresh is in the room tonight also? Doug is here.
Yes. Well, there you go.
And he's looking at us like, why are we talking
Why
about
is everybody looking at me right now? He's turning around
looking
like
the other
somebody behind us.
So what, is it me? Is it me?
We're talking about you, Doug. No,
okay.
you, Doug.
It's all good things. Okay, moving on to our second beer of the game, and Steph is going to guess first on this one. This beer is called Bucket Full of Bugs. Is that real or fake?
Right, real.
Steph is
I was going to say rake. I don't think that counts.
Rake? That is not an answer.
Real.
Yeah.
You said that really quickly. I'm going real as well.
Oh, sour
All right.
beer. Bucket full of bugs. It just makes sense.
Dan is going real as well, and
Not
finally,
that beer names ever make sense.
That's true. Well, they're not always good. They often make sense. Real or fake?
Man, the pressure is overwhelming on this one. I've got to say that's fake.
Oh, gotta say that's fake, and you perform well under pressure because it is, in fact, fake. It is not real, but it does sound either incredibly enticing or distinctly disgusting, depending on where you stand.
Why can't it be both?
I think it can be both.
Exactly.
I think it can be good.
Horse
both.
blanket people. Come on.
Exactly. Sweaty feet. Moving on
Cat
to
piss.
our third beer, and Dan is going to guess first on this one, and this beer is called For Those About to Bach.
I love it.
About to what?
Bach. I love it. If that is not a beer name, it better be.
Is that real or fake, Dan?
I'm going to say fake.
All right. He looks like he has a very good reason
with
for that.
reason.
All right. Fake with extreme prejudice. Moving
Because you
over.
think they'd get sued?
Moving over to Kyle. Is that real or fake?
That's fake.
All right. Saying that is
No, I'm going to
fake.
say it's real. I
Steph
think it
is
is
gonna
a
say
genius name.
It's real.
Obviously real, and it is in fact
Yeah, of
real.
course it's
what,
real.
It's real.
What was
It's
your,
real.
What was your
I was
reasoning?
going to say fake because you probably heard like a radio ad or something because AC/DC is coming through town soon-ish. But I remember
You
when
thought
I
too much
did
about
musical beers, that came up.
that was a while ago.
Right after I said fake,
Wow.
I remembered it.
Wow. Well remembered. Well remembered.
Well, not really well remembered.
Well,
Poorly
sort of.
remembered.
Too little, too late. But yes, For Those About to Bach is a real beer. Is a one-off Bach beer brewed by Hopworks Urban Brewery in 2010.
Yep.
A traditional Bach brewed for the Brew Public Crawl, a showcase of great beers and top Pacific Northwest brewers. Here we go again in the Pacific Northwest. Oh, by the way, you can learn more about Pacific Northwest breweries in Steph's Portland and Seattle Beer Venture series at beerbusterspodcast.com.
That's right.
Hopworks Urban Brewing, a.k.a. Hub, is in Portland, Oregon.
And guess what? There's an article about Hub on our website.
There is an article about Hub on our website as well. Moving on.
And I picked up a bottle of Ninkasi at the Costco in Seattle.
Nice.
The one with the stuff that was sent to space.
Oh, the hops that were sent to
Yep.
space?
I have a
forget
bottle
what
of
it's
that in
called,
my
yeah.
fridge.
But it was the one because that one, the first time it was brewed, the hops were in space, but then
The most important part of that sentence is I bought it at Costco.
Okay.
The biggest and best Costco in the world.
I kind of buried the lead there, didn't I?
Yep.
All right, moving on to our next beer, and we're spinning back around to Kyle to guess first on this one, and this beer is called Covalent Blonde. That
Yeah.
real or fake?
Yeah, I'll go with that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah means real. Steph.
I'll say real.
Steph also saying real. And finally, Dan, yeah or nah?
I'm going to say real. I don't have a single point yet. Please.
All right, well, now you have a point
All right,
because
Yay!
it is, in fact, real. Everybody was correct. Nothing like a good chemistry pun in your beer. Covalent Blonde is a light straw-colored, smooth, and crisp Belgian-style ale brewed by Libation or Fabrication Go-To Brewery against the grain.
Hey.
Which our
Louisville,
friends at Hopheads are headed there this week.
Kentucky. Yes. And they have some crazy beer names.
Is that what you do? You just go to their website when all else fails?
When I can't find anything else, I do often go to their website because they also list them all very conveniently in alphabetical order.
Nice. So
So
you're
it's
just
very
going
true.
down the list.
Yeah,
That one
it's-
started with C, so we know where you're at.
Yeah, exactly. They did have one called A Beer, which I was going to use, but I decided not to. But it was like you go up to the bar and say, "I'd like a beer," and it's of this beer. They say on their website, in contrast to Ionic blondes, as we all know, the strength of this blonde relies on the angular relationship between the glass and your face.
Wow.
So, stew on that. Moving on to Steph for our penultimate beer of the game, and this one is called
Good word.
Shandy Cane.
Oh,
Is that real or fake?
Shandy cane.
Shandy Cane.
If it's real, it's going to be disgusting.
What's your answer?
I'll say real. I said real for all of them, so.
You have, actually, yes. Steph is saying real. Dan, what do you think?
I'm going to say fake because nobody would dare actually try that.
Oh, I'm sure Leinenkugels would. Just saying.
They try to spout anything, especially if it's a shandy. And finally, Kyle, real or fake?
Yeah, sadly, I'm going to say that one's got to be real.
All right, saying that is sadly real. You are incorrect. That is fake.
Well, I'm kind of
Fakey.
glad. I'm kind
I'm
of glad I'm
glad
on
it's
that
fake.
one. Yeah.
Because how?
Although-
like if it's shandy cane, you would think it's peppermint, and peppermint would not know. Why would
Or
you?
it could just be
What
like
is a shandy?
Why would you put Frosted Flakes in an IPA?
it could be just like a
Let alone
winter
a double IPA?
a winter spin on a shandy. Like somehow make a shandy, like take it from a summer beer and make it. I hate shandies.
I'm good.
So I don't care what it is.
Yeah, I think it would be more a play on the word candy cane than a peppermint shandy. I don't
Yeah.
think peppermint shandy would work. But
No, not at all.
I don't
That's where my like when I think of candy canes, it is strictly peppermint.
candy cane.
Yeah, but they make sriracha candy canes.
Why?
They do?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Steph's face lit up. Although it could also be a shandy made with cane sugar.
Oh, all right.
Shandy cane.
Shandy cane.
Anyone? Bueller. Moving on
No.
to our final beer of the game. Dan is going to guess first on this one. Our last beer of the game is called Badonka Dunkle.
Yes.
Is that real or fake?
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Wow. Is that your answer?
No, there's a
Wow.
lot. There's a lot of pressure here.
There's a lot to unpack.
If you get it right and we get it wrong, it's a German sparkle party.
I'm
I
going.
like big dunkles and I cannot lie.
I'm gonna say fake.
Damn it. I need to remember that one. Dan is saying that
I'm gonna say fabrication.
is
sir.
a fabrication. Kyle, what do you think?
Yeah, I got to go along with that. Fabrication.
Fabrication as well? Okay.
All right, I'm going to say real.
Steph saying real. Steph is the only one who is correct because it is, in fact, real.
Wait a minute.
In fact, now hold on to your pants here because the things are about to get
I've
crazy.
held on to them all day. Don't worry.
So, Badonk-a-Dunkle is a Dunkelweizen, obviously.
Of course.
Brewed by Pizza Port Brewing in California. Badonk-a-Dunkle, with one less hyphen, also obviously a Dunkelweizen, is brewed by Dogfish Head. So there are two,
wow.
not one, but two
Wow.
beers with slightly
It
different
is
So do you-
spellings.
super
with
real.
or without hyphen?
The first one has two hyphens.
With or without two? So
Second one has one.
Badonk-
First one is
Dunkle.
Badonk-a-Dunkle.
You know
The
what?
second one is Badonka-Dunkle.
I feel if I had a hyphen count in the beginning of all this, I would have made a different decision.
Well, I apologize, but the rules don't allow for hyphen counts. So, Pizza Port and Dogfish Head, and there's probably others as well because the beer naming thing is getting really, really out of hand. And, by the way, the Dogfish one has cocoa butter, cacao nibs, cocoa powder, and vanilla beans because Dogfish Head.
What? But
that actually sounds delicious.
It actually
so
does sound
many
really
reasons
good.
why I hate that name.
It's awesome. I love it.
But when you think of Badonkadonk, you probably think of country music.
No, I think of
No. What?
It's either going to go country or hip hop.
I was thinking hip-hop.
yeah.
But
that's
still,
what I do.
Ain't no wrong with some hip-hop up in his beer.
Whenever I listen to hip hop,
I'm gonna get my herd
I
in and
really
drink
want a
some bird.
dunkel with vanilla beans. I'm like, I kind of just want something light to kick back and enjoy the night.
You're thinking way too much into it.
But that's
You know
why
what,
you
Dan? My anaconda don't want none unless you got buns on.
Dunkles.
I have no idea what any of you are talking about.
Probably for the best. So adding up the scores here to see who our big winner is. Today's game is won by Steph with 4 out of 6 possible points. Coming up just behind with 3 points is Kyle, and trailing just behind that with 2 points in last place is Dan. Don't forget, friends out there in the podcast-averse, if you've got money lying around that you have no use for, go to patreon.com/beerbusters and become a patron to help support the show and get cool behind-the-scenes perks.
And help us buy a helicopter.
No.
Your beer.
No. Know your beers.
Steph, what do you got?
Not a helicopter.
Damn it.
So, Dan, do you know what style 13B is in the 2015 BJCP guidelines?
Is it...
He's got a
Not
copy
cheating.
of your notes.
Why, yes, it is the British Brown Ale. I was excited when I saw a beer come across my email that we're tasting on the show that I don't think I have talked about. So let's talk about
That's
the British
rare
Brown Ale.
nowadays.
I know, right? It's like my Libation or Fabrication. Let's just put it that way. So
Nice.
a British Brown Ale is a malty brown, caramel-centric British ale without the roasted flavors of a porter. This is a wide-ranging category, however, with many different interpretations possible, ranging from lighter color to hoppy to deeper, darker, and caramel
Only one
focus.
interpretation.
Interpretation.
There can be only one.
However, none of the versions have strongly roasted flavors. A stronger double brown ale was more popular in the past, but is very hard to find now. More malty balanced than British bitters, with more malt flavors than darker grains, stronger than a dark mild, and with less roast than an English porter, it's stronger and much less sweet than London brown ales. The typical ABV falls from 4.2 to 5.4%. Brown ale has a long history in Great Britain, although several different types of products use the name at various times. Modern brown ale is a 20th century creation as a bottled product. It's not the same as the historical products of the same name. A wide range of gravities were brewed, but modern brown ales are generally of the stronger, by current UK standards anyway, interpretation. The style is based on the modern, stronger British brown ales, not historical versions, or the sweeter London brown ale. So, let's break it down. The aroma of a typical British brown ale is light, sweet malt aroma with toffee, nutty, or light chocolate notes. Hello. And light to heavy caramel quality. A light floral...
Kentucky, hello.
I knew you were going to do. I know somebody from there. They yell at you if you say Louisville. It's Louisville. Louisville, Kentucky. Hello.
I'm saying Carlisle.
Carlisle. I helped somebody from Carlisle the other day.
I saw your post.
A light floral or earthy hop aroma might be present. The appearance is dark amber to dark
Kyle once again
reddish
is like,
brown
I have
color.
no idea what any of you are talking about.
They are clear.
I'm sorry, Steph.
Low to moderate off-white to light tan head. The flavor.
Yeah, what about the flavor?
Gentle to moderate malt sweetness with a light to heavy caramel character and a medium to dry finish. Malt may also have a nutty, toasted, biscuity, toffee, or light chocolate flavor.
Hey!
See? It's like you were reading my notes. The mouthfeel is medium light to medium body with medium to medium high carbonation. Some characteristic ingredients used: British mild ale or pale ale malt base with caramel malts. It might also have a small amount of darker malts, that's like your chocolate malts, to provide color and the nutty character. English hop varieties are most authentic. Some examples are Maxim Double Maxim, Newcastle Brown Ale, Rig Welter Yorkshire Ale, Sam Smith's Nut Brown Ale, Witchwood Hobgoblin, and of course, the 1938 Special.
Yay!
Done.
Done, indeed. I forgot I had to hit stop on the music.
Now you learned something.
We did. In fact, yeah. And it's been a while since you've gotten to talk about a beer style.
Yeah, I was excited to dive back into that.
And
There's that
I'd like to
E-word
change
again.
it up.
Yeah.
I was excited.
You were excited.
If you'd like to get a free issue of Brew Your Own magazine, go to beerbusterspodcast.com
And click on the red banner. Let's drink more beer, Dan.
All right.
Beer me! Beer me! Beer me! Beer me! Round 2, fight.
Okay. So this has been sitting in front of us since, I think, the game.
Yes.
And I've been trying my hardest not to drink it because they all look so good.
Yep.
Yeah, and
They
there's
smell
a
really good,
nice
too.
little special
Yeah, there's
surprise
a-
on
yeah.
that second one there that we'll get to.
Like it even came. And I'll save this.
Yeah,
for-
but we're starting
yeah.
with the IPA. Correct?
Yes. IPA.
Not your bestseller, surprisingly.
But the House IPA.
The House IPA. Yeah.
Second bestseller, I'm sure.
This IPA is really heavily influenced from the time I spent in the Pacific Northwest. This would have been in the mid 90s, and IPAs were a little bit of a different animal than they are today. This is kind of a nod back to the Northwest style mid 1990s IPAs. It's got a citrusy kind of finish going, light bodied, light color, maybe a little darker than what your current IPA trends have been. Maybe even a little more balanced between malt and hops.
Yeah, and I think I get that citrus, that nice West Coasty citrus right up front.
Oh yeah.
But then it goes into like a drier, almost earthy bitterness, in the middle, which is really nice. Yeah. And it cleans up at the end, like nice and crisp. Mm-hmm. Very good, very very crushable.
I have to start drinking more than just smoky when I come here. I think I forgot how good your other beers are. I just walk in, I'm like, give me a pint of smoky.
Yeah.
This is really, really nice. And it does bring you back to the Pacific Northwest style. They know what they're doing with their IPAs there.
They do. And that's where I developed my taste for craft beer in the mid 90s when my wife and I moved out there, and almost necessarily a large variety of our beers are really influenced by the styles and what we learned and what we learned to appreciate when we lived out there.
And were you homebrewing when you lived out there, or did that come later?
I actually came back when I started missing the beer.
Okay.
We were out there during what I consider the second spurt of growth in the craft beer industry. I mean, there was a 1980s push, a 1990s push, and I don't want to say that there was a lull in between, but there was certainly a period of less aggressive growth between there. And when we had moved out right in 1995, right in the mid 90s, and things were happening. I think that's right about the same year, right there about where Victory opened up here, and they got started. Yeah. But what was really happening out there in the Northwest was somewhat unprecedented. I mean, the growth was just like it is today everywhere else. I mean, it was
just there.
Just there, yeah. It was crazy. So we really honed our taste for craft beer during that time frame. And when you say that, you tend to find a lot of British style beers when you go out there, surprisingly so. I think that's because during that time frame, a lot of the beers that were coming out of there were really heavily British influenced styles. And even today, you'll still find, like you said, when you've been out, you'll still find that today, to this day.
Well, and let's not forget, as much as America has adopted it, the IPA is originally a British style.
Absolutely.
It's not quite the way we interpret it.
But that's where
right.
its roots are, yeah. So, not Germany, for once.
We do not put hops in the beer.
So was this, and I know you haven't been open all that long, but was this like one of the first beers?
No, actually, our IPA that we opened with was our Firehouse IPA, which is really out of style for an IPA. It was a much maltier, redder, subtly hopped beer. Really more on the lines of a red ale that was just very hoppy. And we got a loyal following for the beer, but we had a lot of people coming to us and saying, you know what, we're looking for something a little different. And I pulled out really one of my older recipes for what's our Oakbrook IPA. The first time I actually brewed this beer, I did it kind of on a whim. We had a blizzard that had dropped a couple feet of snow, and I collected some snow from outside, melted it down, and I brewed the IPA with the snow. And it was awesome because I was able to start with a very neutral profile on mineral content, adjust it to where I wanted. So it was kind of a weird experiment, and it didn't turn out half bad. I improved it, changed it over the years, and then when we were looking for something a little different for an IPA, I broke that out again. And unfortunately, we couldn't use snow this time, but we got a heck of a filtration system here. So the water we get out of municipal water is pretty awesome by the time we filter it out.
It might as well be snow.
It might as well be snow. You got it.
So are the hops that you're using for this IPA pretty consistent?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Very, very much Northwest style hops. There's no exotic or newer varieties in this particular IPA. They're hops that have been around. Cascade is heavily featured in that one. There's a little Chinook in there, and a couple others we put in for dry hopping, mostly for aroma.
And have you, speaking of hops, as a young brewery, I know that hop availability and being able to get the hops you want in the amounts you want when you want them can be very difficult. Have you found that you've had to adjust your recipes to the hops you can get, or are your recipes pretty much complementing what you're able to get your hands on?
Not so far. I mean, my philosophy from the beginning was any of our production brews that are brewed on the 5-barrel system are going to use readily available hops, period. Because I did not want to establish a brand, a beer that people really came in for and found out they couldn't get it because I couldn't get supply.
Right.
And that's a challenge that any brewery our size has. We're just not quite big enough to get into the annual hop contracts to secure a large quantity of some of the more exotic or more in-demand hops. So our flagship beers tend to be using more readily available hops. And then on our experimental batches we do in a pilot system, then we'll get into things that that are a little bit harder to get our hands on.
Right. So speaking of this pilot system, I'm actually curious to know, have you done any really sort of out there beers yet in a small batch, or is that kind of not really your thing?
Well, there's I didn't really want to talk about this, but there was the awesome Opossum.
But I had to bring it up.
You did. we did have one we were going to call the Awesome Opossum. This was going to be the first beer actually fermented in the pouch of a live possum.
What?
I don't believe you for a freaking second right now.
Wait a minute. What?
Don't listen to him.
Let's move on to the next beer.
There were production problems.
as there would be.
There would be. Turns out you can only produce a paltry portion of porter in a possum's pouch.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I really apologize.
Wow.
I apologize.
That was a long. That was a long game. That was a long game.
It was.
Wow. Well played.
Thank you. And I'm not proud. I'm not proud.
All right. What's the beer with the green things in it?
Yeah. Now you're questioning because of the whole possum thing, right? This could be anything. This is our venerable parrot.
Polly.
This is named after Polly. It started out as a grapefruit IPA. We actually do ferment it on top of grapefruit puree. And it was a little too acidic, a little too acerbic. It had a little too much grapefruit bite to it. So we let it age a little bit. It mellowed out. The acidic edge came off, but it was still missing something. So we turned to the culinary world to see what's served with grapefruit. And I think things that work with food tend to work with beer.
Yeah.
So we found that rosemary was often, associated with grapefruit. And if you smell the rosemary, and that you have to smell the rosemary to get the effect with the beer. And it just, I don't know, for me it works. It's a very interesting, it's almost a drink rather than a beer. Without the rosemary, it's not the same.
I am at a loss for words with this one. Holy crap.
It's very unique.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very herbaceous.
It's a good word. But you do have to start with smelling the rosemary.
Without a doubt.
I would never, ever, ever, with the aroma, assume that the grapefruit is in there, but there it is. And it complements it so incredibly well.
Dan, would you say whoomp? There it is.
Whoomp. There it is.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and it's I wouldn't think to put those things together,
Not
but
at
like
all.
you said, yeah, it's something you researched, on the culinary side, and apparently that's something people do.
Wow.
It
Really
smells
interesting.
So good.
So if somebody gets a growler filled with this, do you give them rosemary to take home?
Good question.
We haven't, but it's a good thought.
It's like an extra $1.
Well, doesn't rosemary come in it's like
A sprig?
a sprig, and it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
long with all these little leaves on it. So you can just take a whole sprig and just drop it in the growler.
Or put it in a plastic bag, because
As like a side.
don't you want to
yeah.
put it in when you drink it?
Yeah, you kind of. I guess you want it fresh.
Yeah.
But
Or you could
Just
say,
hope-
just stop at Giant on your way home.
Hope that the cops believe you when you get pulled over with a bag of
you must
rosemary.
sign this document that attests that you will not drink this beer until you stop and buy some rosemary and sprinkle it in.
Well, it kind of works. Rosemary is actually, in the right climate, is actually an evergreen. When we lived out west where the climate was milder, it didn't die at the end of the year. It just kept growing into this shrub thing. And it just it has a piney, almost resinous aroma to it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
It's really quite an experience. If you inhale like through your nose while you're actually drinking it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
gives
like
you
it's
this
like I
whole-
had with the wheat with the lemon.
Yeah.
If you inhale with it,
Yeah,
it adds
yeah, yeah.
a different level to the flavor.
gives you like this whole experience. It's really nice. Do you find that like do people order this like not knowing the process, and then like they put it in front of you like, oh, thanks, my beer, because when they brought over the flight, the beers were sit down first, and then the rosemary was added in afterwards, almost like a stealthy little surprise.
There was one in there.
There
when
was
it came,
some.
and then she
added,
added
but we
more.
got
Okay.
bonus rosemary.
Okay, I didn't see that.
That's what it was.
But do people be like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, at first, and some people will see someone else have it and then ask, "What is that? I want it," without even knowing
Yeah.
what it is. It's just whatever that is. It's different. It's something I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
And it's again, I think because the rosemary works so well with the grapefruit, it's not like a novelty drink in the sense that it's something unnecessarily weird.
Right.
It's there. It has a place there, and it works.
There's
it
a
works in
reason
conjunction.
for it,
There's
yeah.
a reason for it being
Yeah.
in there. Absolutely.
You're enjoying it. You even have
I'm
this like
really
big
enjoying
grin
this.
on your face.
I like this like sort of unusual stuff that, like you said, it's not unusual for the sake of being gimmicky. Like
It
there's-
works.
Yeah.
It's
No,
not
no.
just like throwing lobsters
don't-
in the boiler or
Exactly,
something.
exactly.
It's purposeful.
Yeah, it wasn't like we didn't like have rosemary lying around and say, "How can we use this up?" It was really an issue of what's going to work with
Right.
this beer as it stands to really complete the experience.
It's very unique. Like I've never had anything like this.
So we have one more beer,
We do.
We do.
and this one all the kids are talking about.
All the kids,
All the kids are talking about
the
this one.
21-year-old kids.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
So is this the Blood Orange IPA?
Yeah, this is the Blood Orange IPA. We
right.
just started. I want to say maybe about 6-8 weeks ago we started this one, and it's really taken off for us.
Ooh,
Oh, that's good. That's really good.
I had. It was a Blood Orange IPA. I forget who it was from, but it was for The Walking Dead, and I did not like it.
Oh,
It was-
yeah, I remember that.
I think it might have been
it's
Terrapin.
by the brewery that I don't like any of their beers.
Terrapin.
Yeah, Terrapin.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
yes.
I got it. I'm a Walking Dead fan. Why not? I have the bottle sitting on top of a cabinet, but I didn't like it. And I just because of that, I assumed it was a flavor that didn't work. But this proves
I wonder
that
if you'd
wrong.
have it fresh if it'd be different. Like this,
The
just
Terrapin
like
beer? Yeah.
it's such a fresh blood orange
Yeah.
flavor and
Like
aroma.
even, right off the aroma, you get the blend all together, and it doesn't stop when you take the sip. It's blended so well, which was the mistake that Terrapin had made, or at least when the bottle had gotten to me, that's what it tasted like. But
And
this is great.
Oh, thanks.
when the bottle got to me.
And you may be right on the freshness aspect of it. I mean, this was just prepared within the last 48 hours, and I think it is something that we can't keep. To be honest with you, I don't know what happens over time because we truly can't keep this beer
Yeah.
on long enough to find out. It just goes like crazy.
Like nobody has had this beer more than like a week old.
No one has had this beer more than a week old.
Yes.
So do you add the blood orange during fermentation?
Just at the end of fermentation.
Yeah.
We'll add it. We'll break a bit of our. This actually starts out with our Oakbrook IPA recipe, and I don't think it guesses it's the same beer.
Oh, wow.
As far as the grain and hop schedule, when we brew it, we take a portion of the Oakbrook IPA as it comes out of the fermenter. Some of it goes into the serving vessel. Some of it goes into a sort of a secondary process where it sits on top of the blood orange concentrate and picks it up. And the blood orange totally changes the hop perception. It tastes like a completely different beer.
Yeah.
But yet it's something that we can produce in a single brew day, and we can put 2 beer on tap out of 1 brew day, which
Now-
is awesome.
Do you juice the oranges yourself, or do you buy the juice?
No, it's a concentrate.
Okay, thank God.
It's not a syrup. It's not like a sugary syrup or anything like that.
Right.
It's a blood orange concentrate that it sits on.
Nice.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but like blood orange IPAs have kind of been more of like a recent.
They're a little more emo than regular oranges.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly what I was thinking, but not goth. There's a difference.
Right.
But no, I mean, like, there's a few of them out there now, and I feel like, not that long ago, it was a rare thing.
I
if
agree.
at all.
I agree.
Yeah.
We were looking to do something. I mean, we have to, as a brew pub that's serving a city like Reading, where there is definitely a craft beer culture here, but it's a wide craft beer culture. It's tough that, for instance, in Portland, you can have a place that specializes in cask-conditioned British ales, and they're going to be packed every night. You may not be able to pull that off in Reading.
Probably not.
At this stage, we hope we get there.
That'd be awesome.
So we've got a variety of craft beer enthusiasts that come in here, and a lot of them take to the classic ale approach that we use in the majority of our beers. Some do not. Some want something new, something really different. And the Blood Orange IPA was our effort to kind of find a compromise. We still brew our traditional Oakbrook IPA with traditional grains, traditional hops, but we produce a more of a current trendy beer by putting it through the Blood Orange, the process of sitting on the Blood Orange. But yeah, you're right. And it's really interesting. I made a trip down to Conshohocken Brewing recently. We were short on some hops, and the guys down there bailed us out and gave me some hops so I could get through a brew day. And I tried a couple of their beers. One of theirs was their Blood Money, which is also Blood Orange.
That's
IPA.
also Blood Orange.
Did we have that one when we
I had it at the Manioc. No, that wasn't out when we recorded it. That's a new beer. It just came out this summer.
Yeah.
But I had it at the Manioc Fest.
What's amazing is we produced our first batch of Blood Orange right around the same time they did. They are incredibly similar
They are
beers.
very similar. However, theirs is in a can.
This is true.
Yeah, wow.
Just saying. We love those guys. And they just opened a new pub.
Yeah.
That's right, they did, yeah.
You know what? I found out they did. They had a coffee beer that was brewed with La Colombe Coffee, who is based out of Philly, and I think it is one of the best coffees you can get in Philly. Random fact about that.
Did you know?
Did you know?
Thank you. This has been Dan's Coffee Corner.
Well, these beers were quite delicious.
Oh my God.
They're very
and
good.
I cannot
enjoyed
say,
everything.
and I told Kyle this before he opened. I said, "You're going to be my local brewery, so no pressure." But
I will be here all the time.
he is literally probably the closest brewery to my house. So it's so nice to have this place, and the food is great. The atmosphere is great. Every time I think we come here, there's somebody here we know, which I love.
Right.
And
Well, yeah, Kyle.
Well, besides
and
Kyle
all these other
and Dawn.
awesome people.
And all
I mean,
the
you're
awesome
talking
people
about the
that are
craft beer
here. Yeah, I mean,
enthusiasts
the
of
people
Reading.
that
I mean, there's a
come, so-
cross-section of them here this evening.
I feel like I finally have my own local brewery where I
Yeah.
can go
Yeah.
and, you know everyone.
That's awesome. And not only do you have
everybody knows your name.
And they have vegan food, so that makes me
there's
happy.
also that. So for you,
And they
it's
have
like it's everything you've wanted. But what I like about it is
And he's going to make a hot pepper beer. Come on.
there's also that. I like that you celebrate not only the history of this building, but also the history of Reading. Because I don't think a lot of people that are outside the Reading area realize that Reading really does have a lot of history, even though the city has had some turbulent times. But you are really doing it justice.
Yeah, I
thank
mean,
you.
speaking of the city at large, now that I have not been a resident for about 6 months,
He's
when
an
I
expert on Reading now. From the
no,
outside
I'm just saying,
perspective.
like when I left Reading, like I honestly thought I'm so glad I'm not in that city anymore
I agree
because I had just gotten
with
so
the point he's trying to make.
downtrodden and just like it got to the point where it's just like there's just no because there was a point. I mean, I lived here my whole life, and there was a long time where I was like, people would talk bad about this city, and I'd be like, no, yeah, it's got some issues, but there's good stuff here, there's history here, and I had gotten beaten down.
Yep.
It's tiring
This
to
is a bit of a
constantly try
tangent,
to
but
stand up for it.
but I had gotten beaten down. Like I lived in like.
I feel like there should be depressing music in the back.
like the historic district area, like that Center Avenue, Center Park area.
Play something in a minor key.
But anyway, long story short, coming back here now after having been away and stopping in a place like this and seeing this sort of thing going on and the community being here. I mean, this place was pretty well packed while we've been here all night, and it kind of does like make me think, well, you know what? I still like living in Philly, but Reading it might just have a glimmer of hope.
Yep. And I don't want to sound like I'm trying to one-up you at all, but wait till you hit the 10-year mark out of Reading.
Yeah.
This is what I needed. And like I had known Reading was getting back on track with everything. There's a lot of great things happening in this city. But you never
Most of them are beer.
Most of them are beer related, but no, you don't really.
True.
You don't really think of the future for Reading because of the crappy past that it's had. But Reading is on a nice track to getting back to not a drug town, but it's on its right path. And I think this is what I needed to remind me that Reading can be a good place. And this is home. This is home for me.
And synergy for a moment. If you want to see what opening a brewery can do to turn around a struggling town, you can check out the amazing documentary Blood, Sweat, and Beer. which
Yes.
I believe is available on Hulu and Netflix. Just Google it on the internet. The filmmakers have been on the podcast. It's an amazing documentary.
Chip and Alexis.
Chip and Alexis, we haven't talked about it in a while, but it's a similar sort of thing where one of the stories, it follows two breweries essentially, but one of the stories is about a brewery revitalizing a town that's really suffered. And it's amazing, like even in areas of Philly, like like up in the Fishtown area in Kensington,
Fishtown.
Oh my
Holy crap.
God, look
St.
at
Benjamin,
Fishtown.
and the sort of gentrification, as it were. So it's really cool that beer can do that sort of thing, and it's really cool that sort of thing is happening in Reading.
And that's
in our hometown.
Exactly, in our hometown. That's why I like being in or dealing with the beer community, because
I like dealing with the
dealing with the beer community. No, that's why I like being a part of the beer community.
The beer is good, and the people are tolerable.
That's right. Because it does great things. The aspirations are always high. Like you do the community stuff already, which is great. 6 months, not even 6 months in, and you already had that frame of mind. We were at Levante. Those guys, a year in, they already have community in mind. And that's representative of craft beer as a whole. Think global, but act local.
Think global, drink local.
I like that better, yes. But you're doing a great thing.
That's a hashtag right there.
That is, I will allow that hashtag.
Thank you.
But you're doing a great thing. It's fantastic to see what you've done with this historic building. It's great that you're putting out these kinds of beers, the quality, the caliber that they're up to. You're doing a great thing.
In case you couldn't tell,
awesome.
Thanks, guys.
we've reached the gushing portion of the episode. This is where we
gushing
gush
now.
about how awesome
No, keep
things
it going.
are.
Keep it going. It's all good, man. It's all good.
So if you want to learn more about Oakbrook, come on out and check them out, but also take a look for the great events they do here.
Yeah.
The Berks chapter, again, of the Girls Pine Out will be here. They'll be doing the fundraising efforts for Thanks, the Helping a Needy Kid organization, or anytime you come in, order a pint, you can get a token and support one of the 4 charities by throwing your coin in a boot. So you can always be a part of the positive change and delicious beer going on here at Oakbrook.
Yeah, exactly. So
Well
people,
put. Very succinct. Thank
very
you. We needed
succinct.
that.
So
Yeah, you two are...
Yeah.
we're gushing about the great
We've
thing he's
got a-
doing.
we've
You're just
got a
like
bit
business,
chatty.
business.
And I'm looking at my watch.
You are, yeah. But so people want to reach out to you. So you Facebook.com, is it Oakbrook Brew?
Yeah, Oakbrook Brew.
Cool. And then Twitter as well.
Yeah, we're on Twitter as well.
And Instagram.
Yep, and I tagged a photo earlier at Oakbrook Brew. So look
awesome.
for that on your Instagram feed.
He's very proud of that.
No.
I am.
No,
it's-
him. Dan.
Yeah, Dan.
He was proud that he tagged you.
I was glad that I thought to look for it at first. So if people want to see the events that are coming up, I'm assuming those are the
Yeah,
channels
we
to
keep
follow.
we keep everything on Facebook. I mean,
Cool.
anything coming up, any new beers coming up, any events. That's our first site to go to.
So when the Habanero 1 launches, I'm assuming Steph will be the first
Oh,
one to
he
know.
will.
wait.
He's
And
going to
then
have to
believe
text me first
The-
and then put it on Facebook.
The world will know
Yeah.
when that beer launches.
All right,
Yeah.
good.
Because they will hear Steph screaming and squealing.
Whatever.
Just save me a pint of it. That's all I ask.
Nope.
Wow. I was really directing that at Kyle.
That
not
was
you,
quick,
but,
though, wasn't it? Wow. It was like almost like a reflexive.
Nope.
So Kyle, do me a favor. Save me some of it.
We'll put some in the Opossum's pouch for you, man.
All right. Get that tertiary fermentation then.
What did you say earlier? What was the whole thing about the porter? What was it?
I have no recollection of that event.
The beers were fantastic. I mean, you're doing a great thing here, and it's amazing. Thank you so much for having us out here.
Thank you, guys. This has been great and a lot of fun.
Thank you.
It has
Thank you.
been.
It's been awesome.
Well, we can't forget, of course, to thank Audible for sponsoring the podcast. audibletrial.com/beerbuster. Sign up for that free 30-day trial of your Audible account. Download, listen to, and keep your own audiobook. It lives in the cloud. You can never get rid of that shit. It is in the cloud.
You know what else lives in the cloud?
What?
Giants.
Do they?
Yes. And, money is heavy, so if you want to lighten your load a little bit, we'll be happy to take some of that off your hands at Beerbuster's Patreon page at patreon.com/beerbusters. Finish just to end the episode, please.
I don't understand what any of you are talking
Exactly.
about.
That's fine, because neither does the internet.
And, of course, don't forget, October 22nd,
Pottstown Brewfest.
Pottstown
See you
Brewfest.
there.
We will be there. Get those VIP tickets while you can. Unfortunately, this brings us to the end of another episode of Beer Busters. And it's been an awesome time. And seriously, if you're in Reading or you get the chance to come through Reading, come out to Oakbrook. You're going to have a great time. History, good beer, good food. And Kyle's going to be here.
Kyle will be here.
Kyle will be here.
I'm always here.
Definitely.
All right.
If the doors are open, he's here.
Yes. Well, again, thank you for having us out here. It's been a fantastic time. A lot of fun.
Thanks again, guys.
Well, I am Dan Baker, joined as always by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner.
and the demented and fermented
Wayne Baker.
Remember, No squids were harmed in the making of this episode.
But possums may have been.
Possums we're still on the fence about, but we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Party in a possum pouch.